All right, y'all, what's going on? It's Combo Breaker 99. Welcome back to All Boxing Everything. Make sure y'all subscribe. Canelo Alvarez versus Dmitry Bivol. All right, first off, I have to say, look, Canelo, he's a good fighter. You know, he is definitely one of the top fighters pound for pound. But there were certain fighters that I knew would either have his number or they would just be too much for him because of their size, their skills, and just their overall strength, you know. And that's what I always say. I follow this saying, you know, it's always been a saying in boxing that the good big man beats the good little man. You know, Canelo, you know, yeah, he can blow up into light heavyweight, super middleweight, and so on. Hell, he even thought about fighting a cruiserweight, right? But the more and more he steps it up against these naturally bigger light heavyweights that have solid skills, you know, and the speed and the strength, and they can take his pop, he's not going to win these fights. He's definitely not going to win these fights. That's why I understand why somewhat he was picking his opponents, even at 168. You know, the Rocky Fielding fight, the Caleb Smith fight, Caleb Plant, fights like that. Yeah, you can see him win because those guys, they can't hurt him. But the minute he goes in there with a super middleweight or a light heavyweight that can take his shot and they can punch and they have the speed and the strength to push him back, he's going to lose. And I always thought that Bivol or Beterbiev would hand Canelo an L. I've always thought that. So I picked Bivol to win this fight, and he did. He pretty much won, I won't say completely in dominant fashion, but he definitely outboxed Canelo the majority of the rounds in the first half of the fight and the second half. I think we can say, yeah, he did dominate him technically. I think we can say that. You know, Canelo had his moments here and there, but Canelo did look gassed at some points in the fight, and he had no answer for the jab of Bivol and the speed. You know, he never really made an adjustment to go to the body. He couldn't get the respect of Bivol. So, yeah, I think we could say it was kind of a technical domination for Dmitry Bivol, right? I mean, the first round right away, I could see it already settling in of Bivol's jab. You know, back the way he was backing Canelo up and just keeping that jab in his face and just keeping range. Canelo, he was landing a few power shots, but right away he wasn't getting that respect. Like, Canelo landed a few good body shots, and he was landing that right hand. Like, tries to land that, like, overhand right to the arm to try to hurt the tricep like he did to Caleb Smith. You know, he continues to do that. Like, he'll hit his opponents on the arm. So I give Canelo a lot of credit there. Like, he likes to hit the arms so, you know, he can take away the jab of his opponent or just do damage like he did to, like I said, Caleb Smith's tricep that time. But none of those shots were really having an effect on Bivol. You know, Bivol was just keeping that range, keeping a hands high guard, and just popping off that jab and coming around the top with his right hand. Second round, the same deal. You know, Bivol just controlling with his jab, and you can see the strength was evident. Like, when he landed combination, Canelo tried to step in. He pushed Canelo back with his forearm with ease, you know. I think I did give him, like, the third round. You know, he was landing more power shots, like splitting the guard with the uppercut and, you know, landing a few good right hands and left hooks to the body. But none of this was hurting Bivol. You know, Bivol took a few of these shots, and he would just come back with his own combination. I'd say up to round 6, I had it, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I had it like 4 rounds to 2. I thought Bivol was just landing better combinations and just taking away what output Canelo did have. You know, Canelo, he was getting peppered with a lot of these shots. You know, he was eating some clean right hands. He was trying to, like, roll off the ropes, but he was taking some hard combinations from Bivol. Like, he was never really, like, stunned, but Bivol was getting his respect with these combinations. You know, he was hitting him with some good right hands and busting through his guard with the jab. You know, very good jab from Bivol, staying consistent. Second half, yeah, Bivol was just outboxing Canelo. Canelo looked tired to me. You know, he started to look tired when he was huffing and puffing, hands down, and just swinging with the same punches. You know, Bivol was figuring this out. Like, the same right hand was coming. He would just kind of take it on the arms, and he'd come back with a good combination right up the middle. And I like how Bivol would, you know, take that one step out to make Canelo miss. You know, he knew his range. You know, Canelo, shorter and stockier, you know, he could just make him miss those straight shots by taking one step back. And then I think it was like round 8, you know, Canelo, he really looked tired. Like, I didn't see much of anything done from him in that round, you know. And I think Canelo, he did turn it up in round 9. You know, he started to land more, but he still couldn't hurt Bivol. Like, he landed more in the inside, you know, and get off some good power shots. But if you can't hurt the guy, you know, you're not going to get his respect. He's just going to keep coming. and I gave 10 through 12 to Bivol as well. I thought he just outboxed Canelo here at this point. I think he was just outlanding, outworking Canelo. He kind of looked frustrated at one point. I know whenever Bivol leaned on him, he tried to pick him up. That just kind of shows the frustration. He's trying to show his strength, but really the stronger fighter was Bivol in here. Bivol was a stronger fighter where he was pushing Canelo back and, just all around taking Canelo's best shots. So when it all came down to it, I had it 9-3. I know some people disagree. I had it 9-3, really. I can't even see 8-4. I think Bivol just outlanded Canelo, outboxed him, and dealt him a style that he's not used to. This is one of those styles that you could put on that list like the Lara, the Floyd Mayweather, tricky, slick boxers, or just quick boxers with hand speed that have a good jab. That they're not gonna fall because it's Canelo. Caleb Plant, he could have did this if he had a little bit more pop on his shot. If he had a little bit more pop on his shot and more strength, and if he could punch around the guard like Bivol did. But that's what it came down to. Bivol's a light heavyweight. Looks like a super middleweight physically, but he's a light heavyweight. He has some thud to his shots. So he had no trouble just backing Canelo up by stuffing that jab right down the pipe, hitting Canelo with these combinations and just keeping him honest. Canelo wanted to fight that type of fight, go inside, but, Bivol kept denying it and just kept hitting him with those combinations and finding range, So these type of boxers, yeah, they'll always beat Canelo because Canelo, if he just kind of falls into that same deal where he throws the same combination, same left hook to the body, same overhand right, always ignoring the jab, he'll lose these type of fights. But, shout out to Canelo for taking on the best because, these are one of the fights I wanted to see him step it up in if he wants to consider himself, like, pound for pound the best. If he keeps stepping out at 168, I want to see him in there with the best. But this just proves it that, I don't think he can hang with the light heavyweights. Hell, he can't hang with cruiserweight. And anybody thinking he beats Usyk, no. Canelo doesn't have the style to beat Usyk and those guys. No, not at all. He needs to stay at 168 and stay in that range. Fight guys like Benavidez and maybe even go back down to 160, but he's not really built for light heavyweight. It still comes down to frame and size. Like Canelo, he's wide, but I don't think he really has that type of power to hang with these bigger light heavyweights. These light heavyweights, they blow up to like cruiserweights and heavyweights sometime, so they naturally are just like bigger and longer and much more durable and pack more pop for these higher weights. I don't think Canelo really has that. Like Canelo's power is good for 168. I think that's as high as it goes for him. That's for me. As for Bivol, shout out to Dmitry Bivol. Like I said, I definitely had him win in this fight. I picked him to win. He's defended his WBA belt. Next, I want to see him fight the winner of Artur Beterbiev and Joe Smith Jr. I want undisputed. That's all we can have now, right? That's probably the best fights to make. So Artur Beterbiev and Joe Smith Jr. is next month. So, I hope that Bivol, he's going to call for the winner of that fight because, we need an undisputed light heavyweight champion, So, guys, let me know in the comment section what y'all thought of this fight. What's next for Canelo? Go back down to 168. Combo Breaker 99. I'm out. Make sure y'all subscribe. All boxing everything. Peace.